Okay, so a couple of things that I want to get out of the way before we get too far into this video is the lighting was not perfect for night vision operations, but it did work rather well for what we were trying to accomplish. So here we're taking off out of the Eugene Airport southbound. You can see the lake there, but you can see one of the problems with night vision right off the bat is there's a lot of lighting that is polluting the image, but the further away you get from the lighting and the better the quality of the tube, the better the results will be. All right, so here in this next clip, I'm kind of demonstrating how adjusting the iris on the end of the device allows me to have a better focus. This device does require you to focus the objective lens. And so while playing with that, the downside is it does restrict how much light comes into the tube. But here you can see there's definitely, you can tell contours of the mountains, there's roads. That's kind of a Y-shaped valley right there with some roads, possibly water. Again, we're at really high altitude, so it's really difficult to see what we're looking at. But as you can tell, now that we've gotten away from some of the city lights out of Eugene, it looks a lot better, and you can actually tell some contouring and trees and whatnot. All right, so in this clip, you can definitely tell a lot better contour, a lot better image quality. That's due to less and less light from the sun going further and further past the horizon. So we're getting a little bit better image quality. So there's a great shot there, the contouring. And again, we're still really high up, 7,000-ish MSL. There's a bunch of trees there, so you can definitely tell that. You can tell the strobes are kind of having an effect on the night vision, but not really as bad as I thought it was going to be, so not really an issue there. And again, just a quick reminder, the camera that's on this tube is not the greatest, so I'd say probably 40% better in actual viewing, if you will. There's a lake there that we flew over. You can definitely tell a big dark spot. It's definitely water or another hard surface, but definitely water. So see there, you can tell on the horizon that even though the sun has gone down, we're still getting some light pollution from it. All right, there's a shot out the front of the aircraft there. There's Roseburg in the distance. Okay, and here's I-5, just south of Roseburg, and you can tell the freeway traffic there. You can definitely tell it's vehicles, and this is a main road or interstate there. Bunch of light pollution is what we call it, but you kind of get what you get. But we're coming up to the good part here. So even though it's remote, we're gonna see a very small light all by itself. That's gonna be this top-ish left quadrant as we come up here, right there. All by itself, and we're miles away and still 7,000 feet MSL. It's kind of fading in and out. Makes me think it's probably a vehicle of some sort, or maybe a human with a flashlight, who knows. But I know that light is emanating from that, and this is kind of where it kind of makes sense for search and rescue for me, because usually, hopefully, people will have some type of light source, phone, flashlight, something like that. I'll be able to see that for miles. So there's another one coming up that we found, really bright, still pretty high, couldn't tell what it was, but that light source there is very bright. Probably a campsite, because there's a small little pond off to the top left there. This is off of Elk Mountain down in kind of the Medford Sam's Valley area. Super bright all by itself. There's Elk Mountain. That's where our Civil Air Patrol repeater is at, is in that building there that's blinking. But yeah, I think this is super viable. I'd like to do another flight with some targets on the ground that I can set up and see what it looks like. All right, thanks for your consideration and your time. Okay, here's a little bonus track. So that big giant light source there in the middle, that's kind of a square, and then there's a bunch of little lights around it that are square that make a bigger square. That's a grow that we found, and I thought it was really interesting how the big center portion, I could see it was visible light. All the smaller stuff around it to the outside, I'll go back to it here in a second. So all the smaller little lights to the left, the right, and below, that bright spot, that's all infrared light. Your naked eye cannot see that. And there's Medford. Thought that was interesting.